Guys, it's Kelly from Cards by Christine here with you on a, well, technically Thursday, but that's not what I'm here for. So we are doing Paper Pumpkin Live today, and let me grab into the group to make sure I'm where I need to be. Facebook has made lots of changes, and finding myself live has become harder because of it. All right, there we are. Ooh, turn that down. All righty. So, welcome. Happy Thursday. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. I am. Had a very crazy, chaotic day at work today. We had Dinosaur Discovery Day. So, it was a lot of fun. We brought in a real paleontologist who brought real fossils. And man, kids and their enthusiasm about dinosaurs. There's just something about it. Now, my kids, not into dinosaurs. They're kind of scared by them. My kids are very into trains, but they still came and partook in the activities. So cool, so much fun. Hello, Cindy. Thank you so much for joining us from Southern Virginia. So, I have had a gangbusters day, and it's not quite done yet. So, here we are, ready to make some beautiful things. Thank you so much for sharing. I hope you guys all had a wonderful day. Just wanted to let you know, my Technique Thursday video didn't schedule properly, so I just posted it probably half an hour ago. So if you haven't had the opportunity to see it yet, you can go out and catch that. Hi, Linda, Carmen, Pam, and Lynn. Kids love dinosaurs. I know. Oh my God. The enthusiasm today was so palpable, and it was just so much fun. And I learned a lot. So I'll share some of those nuggets with you as the day goes on. I'm sure they'll come up, but let's see here. Hello, Mary. Oh, you just finished watching it. That's awesome. Hi, Hildenell, Sherry, Linda. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, Laura. Welcome. So, I had to stop watching it to catch live. I know. Oh, I felt so bad. How much is the paper pumpkin? All right. Well, that's always a tricky question for me to answer. I never know. The paper pumpkin is typically like $22 plus shipping if you are not local. So it appears as though we have 3 left. So if anyone is interested, Chris is on vacation. I am your substitute teacher for the night. So let me know if you want one and I can write your name on it, or you can always email Chris and she can get back to you at her convenience. I work at a children's museum. So we actually brought in a paleontologist from a dinosaur museum that's about almost 2 hours away. It's in Kenosha. And he's wonderful. He's come out and done programs for us in the past. So yeah, it was so much fun. Hello, Helen. Hello, Hannah. Sorry, I had a couple chocolate bars for my supper. We're going on all cylinders right now. So yeah, so we will chitty chatter for a little bit more. Let some more people get on. But let's see here. We will do roll call and a giveaway for one of our Paper Pumpkin subscribers. Hello, Donna from Canada and Jessica from Kansas. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope we're going to have a great night tonight. I'm a little nervous about our alternative tonight. I'm not going to lie to you. I was prepping for it before going live, and I had a lot of different ideas. I'm not sure that I am choosing the right one. We'll see. Sometimes I struggle to find things when Chris isn't here, and I tried calling her and she didn't answer, and that's perfectly fine. Like, check yourself out. Not a big deal. So we're going to do our best. Hi, Karen. Hello, Sandy. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And I have 2 kiddos at their grandma's house, just dying to hang out with me. So I'm gonna try to have them picked up by 8. So we'll see. We are gonna do some high quality speed crafting tonight. So I think with that, I'm gonna flip her over and we are going to do our roll call. So thank you to everyone who subscribes to Paper Pumpkin through us. We appreciate it. We hope you enjoy it as much as we do. Tonight we have joining us Lynn Beasley, Amy Ponce, Sarah Kruger, Penny Powell, Jody Storman, Laura Wood, Kathy King, Chris. She always gets a couple extras to sell for people. Dawn Reeder, Lori Kaiser, Marge Haas, Carmen Melendez, Jolene Schrei, Brenda Krudwig, Bev Smith, Nancy Charles, Patricia Williger, and Helen Voigt. So, thank you to all of you for joining us. We will do a drawing later tonight amongst you ladies to see who's the lucky winner of our prize. And here it is. So, no special box this time. That's all right. We're back to our Poppy Parade. We've got Sending Good Thoughts. This is July 2022. And we've got Bermuda Bay for our Stampin' Spot. Here are our nautical theme stamps. So we have a sailboat. Hi, Lynn. I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for sharing, Pam. Maybe that's not a sailboat. That's a boat. I'm not very good at boats. Can you tell? We've got a stippling pattern here. Sending Good Thoughts. We've got some starfish. We've got some kind of seaweedy stuff. Oh, that's a cute little seahorse. Thinking of you. Can't wait to see you. Wishing you all the best. And then this is a little note for our message in a bottle, I'm assuming. Sale-a-bration is here. Get your free goodies during Sale-a-bration. With every $50 or $100 you send, you can choose a sailing ship. That would sound about right. Thanks, Donna. You can choose a free Sale-a-bration item. So many great goodies. If you don't know what Sale-a-bration is or want to know more, please don't hesitate to message us. Sale-a-bration also is the best time to get Paper Pumpkin because with a prepaid subscription, you earn a whole bunch of Sale-a-bration free items. So if you want to join the crew, now's a great time to do it. Here is a sneak peek at the next Paper Pumpkin. So exciting. Sweet Sunflowers, so it's going to have a special box and a free gift for our subscribers. Spoiler alert, they've already showed it. It's going to be gold laser cut, like honeycomb looking things. It's very cool. And I love the previews they've sent already, so it's going to be a great, and 2 ink spots, so that's cool. So lots of fun stuff. Great one to get. Hello, Hildenelle and Margarita. I'm so glad you caught us live. We are so happy that you're here. All right, so here is our kit. So we've got 3 each of 3 different designs. So let's crack her open and see what we're dealing with tonight. Oops. Not off to a good start. It's fighting back. Okay. So our instructions, then we've got some twine, some glue dots, dimensionals. And then, let's see here. Got envelopes. All the same envelopes this time. Okay, these are really cool. This is the matted piece. Kind of looks like it has watercolor lines on it. And the reason I'm stroking it is because it's got a embossed texture to it. You can kind of see it better on that side. So we've got that texture. This one has clouds and waves. Let's see here. Caught a little bit of it there. And then this one has waves as well. So let's show that off. I really like that. That's neat. All right, then our card bases. This time we've got, I'm thinking this is Highland Heather. Ooh, they're hiding some stuff on me. And then probably Basic Gray and Bermuda Bay. So those are our card bases. And then some more die cuts. Very cool. So those are our goodies. Looks like a really nice kit. I can't wait to put it together. Just need to organize my space a little bit. And then we're gonna dive in. So, got intricate coral, which is beautiful, but probably going to be a little bit of a pain to punch out. So Chris always advises when using paper pumpkin, so like this is 3 sheets, to punch them all out at the same time. Save yourself a little time and effort. I'm loving the colors too. I agree, Laura. They're so beautiful. All right, so now it is exponentially more difficult when we've got all of these intricate, but that is one of the coolest things about all of these laser elements is how intricate they are. All right, so here's the next one. We'll start with the most difficult one. So if you do want to save some time, just layer your die sheets over each other and punch through all 3 at the same time. Okay, so we're about halfway through this really intricate one. Hello, Marcia. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you're having a wonderful day. All right, there she is. What else do we got? Some seagulls. We have some seahorses. Oh, they're so cute. Joining late. You are not late, Doris. Thank you so much for joining us. We just got kicked off here. I basically just unpacked the box and now I'm getting the die cut pieces out. Thank you so much for joining and sharing. All right, then we got the big bird. All right, so there's that set. Then we have our banners. Oh, okay. Here we go. We have 3. Okay, we got a couple more things. I feel like my brain's just a little fried from such an exciting day. So, I promised some dinosaur education. Let me share with you some of what I learned today. And if you have any kiddos in your life, they'll probably be fascinated as well. So some of the dinosaurs that, I should say, some of the animals that are historically referenced as dinosaurs are not. So like a pterodactyl. I thought that was a dinosaur. It's not. It's a flying reptile, but doesn't fit the qualifications for a dinosaur. Also, some of the underwater creatures, like I'm not even going to be able to say it right, but like Plesiosaurus is not technically considered a dinosaur either because it doesn't breathe air and it doesn't live on land. So those are 2 specifications to qualify for being a dinosaur. Didn't know that either. I actually shared on my personal page, so if you're friends with me on Facebook, you'll see it, his presentation, because it was so informative and so great. Feel free to watch it. It was really interesting, and he's so passionate about what he does, which is great. You know, when someone's passionate, it just makes it so much more interesting to listen to them. And did you know, there's 5 things that make a dinosaur, and it is, let's see if I can do this, scaly skin, lays an egg with a hard shell. It is, breathes air, lives on land, and then there's one more, I can't think of it. So all of those specifications are actually present in animals that exist these days, including, but not limited to, chickens and birds. So we evolved, the definition of a dinosaur has evolved, and it includes what we call modern day birds. So I thought that was so cool. So a chicken is a dinosaur. Anyways, That's my fun fact for the day. Alrighty, I am done unpacking all of my goodies. So let's get started with some stamping. We are going to take our scrap paper. Okay, so let's decorate this guy. I want to put this somewhere that you can see it too. If you have never joined me for a Paper Pumpkin Live, there's a couple things that I repeat every time, just in case you didn't know it. I always utilize my own ink pad because they do send with you a Stampin' Spot, which is great. You get everything that you need to do this if you are a beginner stamper or don't have all of the supplies. However, I do like to use the supplies I have in my arsenal because it is just more convenient to stamp on a traditional stamp pad than the small ink spot. So that is that. That is why you'll see me doing that. Also, you do get a block. When you first subscribe for Paper Pumpkin, your first kit comes with a D block. Well, I use my own D block because it's got the rounded edges that are a little more comfortable to hold on to. But again, if you don't have any additional blocks, you can absolutely use what gets sent to you. So that's kind of my disclaimer about the supplies that I end up using. But not a big deal if you use something else. All right, then we need the small bottle. And we are gonna stamp our message in the bottle inside of there. Very cute. All right, and then last but certainly not least, we have our sentiment, which is I can't wait to see you, and that's going on the little banner. Little banner has a hole in it, which makes me feel like I'm gonna be tying a little bow coming up soon here. Oh man, we'll see how that goes. All right, can't wait to see you. And the important thing about this is, you see on the diagram here, let's see if I can get that straighter for you. The hole is on the right side, okay? So make sure the hole is on the right side so that in the end we can string the twine through it and still be able to read it. Now, I can see that my stamp is a little crooked. So photopolymer stamps can twist and move. So it would have looked like it was kind of like a rainbow. Oh my goodness gracious. I did not stamp that very well. There's two sides to every sheet of paper, so have no fear. We can try it again. Also, they gave you an extra of this little piece. So in the event that you truly mess up, you can get rid of one and try again. That one looks like I stamped it too high. Oh, that actually is pretty good. Okay, so those are our stamped pieces. I was in the middle of a statement and I can't remember what I was saying. I think I was talking about which bottle size did you use? We used the smallest one. So there were 3 different ones on the sheet, and the smallest one is what the message in a bottle goes in for this card. Great question. Thank you for asking. So when you put your photopolymer stamp down, you can, if you want or have any reason to, curve it. For this stamp, that would not make much sense, but when I put it on the block, I could tell that it wasn't exactly straight, so that's why you saw me pick it up and move it, so that it was at least a little straighter. Okay, so that takes care of our stamping. The next step is to put dimensionals behind the mat and put it onto our card base. So at this point, I would advise you to close your stamp pad as to avoid any messes. Grab your gray card base and grab your Bermuda Bay mat. So here we're going to take our card, fold it in half on the score line, and bring in our bone folder to burnish that edge. Then we're going to bring in our matte piece and the dimensionals that they provided. And it shows you where they advise you to put the dimensionals. It's probably hard to see on the screen, but it does give you a diagram of how to put the dimensionals on. That's great. However, I will advise you to use more than that just because it is a full layer, and it's a pretty large layer. So having a little extra support, I think, is necessary. So I'm going to go ahead and add just a few more than they did. So this is how I'm going to have the dimensionals laid out on the back of my card in case you want just a little extra support. They usually give you plenty of additional supplies that you wouldn't run out, so I wouldn't worry about that. Then flip your card mat over and center it, and then adhere it. Okay, next step is to cut a 9-inch piece of twine. You'll notice that on the edge of the paper there is a measuring tool. So go ahead and open your bag of goodies and grab out your twine. It's always hard to find the start of these things. Okay, and then measure at 9 inches. Bring in your ribbon scissors and give her a snip. Okay. Then we are going to, I'm going to move this off to the side because next we're going to grab these pieces and the purpley piece. Oh my goodness, they're so delicate and they're interwoven. Okay, so now it shows it flipped over and it shows 3 gray dots where they advise you to put your glue dots. Absolutely no problem using glue dots. At this point, however, I'm going to bring in my liquid glue and use liquid glue on the back. Just a little easier for me personally to work with. It is absolutely your personal preference how you would like to adhere this on. Knowing where it's going to go, I'm not going to branch out real far from the epicenter of this, what's it called? Coral maybe? I don't know if it's coral. But regardless. Okay. All right, so then you can flip it over and fill in the area on your tag. Then we are putting, oh, you guys, I kind of skipped ahead. I cut off the piece of ribbon, but then didn't do anything with it. So they are showing you to feed the ribbon from the bottom up through the hole. And here it's splitting. And then to put it around the bottleneck, which is cool. And then what we're going to do is tie a bow. I don't know if you guys can hear this, but there is a lot of airplane noise. We live in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, which is just up the lake from Oshkosh. And Oshkosh has EAA Air Venture going on right now. And it's the world's largest aviation celebration. So pilots and aviation enthusiasts from all over the world fly into Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Fun fact, during EAA, our little Oshkosh airport is the busiest airport in the world the day that the planes fly in. It is so funny. But anyways, so they come and enjoy this celebration of aviation. And it is really fascinating and really cool. Especially for, it's just, Oshkosh isn't a huge town or anything like that. It's where I went to school, ironically. And so it's funny that you can hear for like 10 days straight a bunch of noise in the skies because we've got a bunch of air shows and fun things going on for EAA. Now, I can see here that they advise you to put A-dimensional on the neck of the bottle. I agree, this bottle is adorable. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't adhere it at the bottom of the bottle too. I feel like it wouldn't be very secure. So unless I learn the reason after doing this, and I'll share with you, I'm going to sort of down the lake or south of Oshkosh. Okay. So thanks, Mom. Geography is not my strong point by any means. So we are south down the lake from Oshkosh, where EAA is taking place. And Laura, that is so cool that you know of people who participate in EAA. We have a family friend that is from Indiana that comes up for EAA every year. Wouldn't miss it. So it is definitely a big deal. It's one of those things that I don't want to say I take for granted because I'm not really an aviation enthusiast to like die to have the opportunity to go, but I have gone once, and it's definitely super cool and really one of those hometown pride types of things. Okay, so what you're gonna see that I just did, I like having this loose and free, but I also like telling it who's boss. So I put a dimensional half under the bottle and half out of the bottle so that I can secure the tag in the place that I want it to be. So that is that. Okay, and then the last step is to adhere this tag onto the front of our card. Again, the recommendation is to use glue dots. I am again going to make the executive decision to use my glue, but whatever fits your fancy. Okay, so make sure you open your card and make sure that you know you're putting it in the right place. And then it looks like, I'm gonna point something out to you. Definitely looks like on their sample, they've got the banner off to the right-hand side of the card. I went ahead and centered it. Your own personal preference. I just personally think that looks better. I don't know. So this is card number 1, very Bermuda Bay with a couple splashes of Highland Heather and a nice basic gray base. So cute. I love it. Still don't have... Yes, Chris, I am all fine. I was looking for a couple things for the alternative. Didn't really find it, but that's okay. I've got a completely different idea, so stay tuned. We'll see how that goes. Feline, I'm sorry to hear that you don't have your paper pumpkin. The elements are super adorable, and I hope you get yours soon. All right, so we've got one down. Let's move on to the next one, which I think was the Highland Heather one. And before I continue to reference colors that I'm not positive about, I did want to point out, as I always do, on the back of your kit, you see the basically what's included in the kit. And then beneath, it tells you the coordinating Stampin' Up! Colors. So Balmy Blue must be the light blues and like the envelope. Basic Gray would then be that card base. Bermuda Bay is all of the like greeny or tealy elements, including the stamp spot. Fresh Freesia, that makes more sense. That's not Highland Heather, it's Fresh Freesia. Pacific Point is the more true blue, and then Poppy Parade is the beautiful pop of red. All right, sorry to hear that, Feline. I don't know. I'm making it worse. I hope it gets to you soon. And then you can always replay for my excellent commentary. Alrighty, so next we are going to bring in our circle die with the fresh freesia. Wishing you all the best is the sentiment we're going for. And then we're gonna bring out our mat and scrap again. And here we go with Bermuda Bay. Okay, wishing you all the best. What a cute saying. All right, so we've got one there. Ooh, I didn't even realize there were refills available. This would be a beautiful set for refills. I can see this making great birthday cards or thinking of you, thank you. A lot of really cool cards. I love the die cut elements. They are so intricate and so beautiful. And I think the thing that I like the best that I haven't seen Paper Pumpkin do very often is the dry embossed elements on the card mats. I think that is so cool. I love it. Okay, so then we're just going to add a little texture to this starfish. Kind of looks like it's right through the middle there. And then maybe I'll do some Stamp Off goodness on the rest of it. Okay, so just give him a little texture. And then we need to add, here we go. Sorry guys, going crazy. Then we need to add the seaweed on our bottle. Now, this bottle is the one that doesn't have, the one that doesn't have the blue on it. So there's two large bottles. One of them has a blue line to make it look like it's laying down, and I'm sure we're gonna stamp a boat in here. So make sure you grab the gray bottle that doesn't have any blue in it. Okay, so then we've got this. Hello, Millie. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got the seaweed. Again, we're gonna stamp that in Bermuda Bay. Over to the right-hand side. So it's off to the right, and you can kind of see there's a little bit of a what would look like the base of the bottle where it's a little more gray. So you kind of make it look like it's resting on the base of the bottle. Now, that takes care of all the stamping for this card. So at this point, I would advise you to close your stamp pad. Who's stamping along with me tonight? Just out of curiosity. And am I keeping pace? I don't want to be rushing anyone. Hi, Susie. Thank you so much for joining. All right. So next we are grabbing... Hi, Deb. Are you guys hanging out together? Okay. So next we are grabbing our Fresh Freesia base and our Fresh Freesia mat. We are going to fold our card base. Hello, Helen. I am so glad that you are stamping along with me. I think you said that earlier. So I'm so happy that you are in the trenches with me. All right. So, ooh, I grabbed two on accident. We only need one. Nope, I'm at home. That's so funny. You guys commented at the exact same time. Okay, so again, we are going to put dimensionals on. You're trying to stamp too. Thank you, Hildenau. All right, so we're gonna flip this over. Oh my goodness, so many of you are stamping along with me tonight. Excuse me, I need to take a drink. Oh, I don't know if any of you are used to having a one-sided conversation, but when there's no one actually talking back to you, you fill up all of the airtime with your own voice, and it dries out really fast. Absolutely, Cindy, you were paying attention. So I was looking for an embossing folder, and I couldn't find it. So then I was like, yeah, you know what? That's okay. So all of these cards are very nautical themed. And I was going to use the like water embossing folder. I can't even remember what it's called. And I had an inspiration in mind, and that's what I was going to do. Then when I couldn't find that, I decided, you know what? I really like to make alternatives that are a little different. So like if you aren't into the nautical theme, you can still feel as though you could use this kit and get benefit out of the kit. So spoiler alert, I don't know how successful it's going to be, but tonight we are going to make a Halloween alternative with this kit. Now I'm committed. There's no going back now. So we'll see. Stick around. It'll be a laugh, that's for sure. For certain. Okay, so again, 9 inches of twine is going to go on our little bottle friend. Where did I put that? Over here. We're going to double wrap it around the neck and tie it off to the right side. So, let's see here. 1, 2, and then tie it off to the side. Well, I'm glad you think I'm doing great, Deb. Yeah, sometimes I talk to myself even when I'm not being taped. I'm a verbal processor, so sometimes I say things out loud just so that my soul can let loose of the idea. Like, you know, it just sometimes happens that way. Okay, so the tails are pretty long. I didn't trim the tails on the last card, but I feel as though these are a bit too long to keep quite as long as they were there. Next, it shows, again, the expected placement for the glue dots. And again, go for it. But I'm going to bring in my liquid glue to adhere this. All right, so we're gonna cock him off to the side on the right side. Then we've got a whole bunch of elements to add. So we are going to put dimensionals on the star, the sentiment, and a half dimensional on the seahorse. And then you can either use the included blanking on glue dots. You can either use the included glue dots or liquid glue for the seaweed. The coral. Oopsies. Okay, so I'm going to start with the coral because the coral is not dimensionalized, which means the coral is on the base layer of the card. When we put it on the base layer, then after that we'll go to what we're using dimensionals on to layer it up. So I don't need to put glue on every finger of this coral, but just enough to really get her down. Okay, then we're gonna put it over in this left corner and get that stuck down. Then, what is that? So I think the graphic here, not to point out their mistake, I think these are the tails of the ribbon on the bottle, and it's supposed to be here. I'm like, what are we supposed to put there? I think that's just a printing error. So anyways, not worrying about putting that there because that doesn't exist. We are then going to add 3 dimensionals to the back of our sentiment. Woo! And then we will add 1 dimensional to the center of our starfish. Okay, so we're adhering the sentiment in the upper left-hand corner. Instant regret, I put it a little too high. That's a little better. Then we're going to put one dimensional on the inside of the starfish. And one dimensional. So I kind of like having it overlapping just a little bit so that it like keeps everything connected. We'll see. Okay, and then one dimensional. They are saying a half dimensional, but I think I can fit one on the belly. So you can either get out your glue scissor and cut this dimensional in half, or you absolutely can fit, if you go right in the thick of the tummy, you can fit a whole one. All right, so wishing you all the best. Love all the layers on these cards. They are so beautiful. So that is card number 2. Tuck that away, and we are moving on to our third and final card design. Yup, it is the sailboat in a bottle. So cute. Okay, so let me grab my stamping supplies, and we need the little light blue strip, Sending Good Thoughts. It is adorable. I am so in love with the color schemes, Doris. I think they are spot on. Now, the Sending Good Thoughts stamp will barely fit across your block, or you can cock your block so that it goes corner to corner. Then you have a little more wiggle room per se, but remember when stamping this to use your best to have a steady hand, because you are more likely to rock the stamp and get some excess on your stamp then. So keep that in mind. Just a little tip though. Okay, so let's stamp our Sending Good Thoughts, and we are going to justify this to the right, so all the way off to the tails, and we are going to leave some excess space on the left. So this is intentional, and that is how you want it to look, okay? Just gonna point that out. Then let's clean off our stamp. Bring in our big bottle with the blue along the bottom. And now we're gonna grab our boat stamp. Our pirate ship, arr. It's funny, I was just talking about pirates today with our paleontologist friend, because we do a bunch of different themed events for our children at our museum. And just before the pandemic, the last time we brought the dinosaur presenter in, we just had a pirate family night the month before, and we were talking about the pirates. All right, so this boat fills up most of the bottle. So let me point out a little tip in stamping this. To get it in the bottle, we want the bottom of the boat to go in the water a little bit. So I don't know, that's about 1/8 of an inch, 3/16 of an inch maybe. That's about 1/8 of an inch down, so that your boat fits in your bottle. We think it's a schooner. I am not in any way, shape, or form a pro at all when it comes to boats or fishing or anything like that. So any advice on these nautical themes is more than welcome. Millie, we do have a kit, and I will add you to our list so that you can be in for the drawing. We'll pick the winner at the end. Millie Kindle. All right, consider it yours. I will have Chris follow up with you about where we're sending that to. And I see here I didn't get the boat completely cleaned. So you can see behind me, that is our stack of extras. So there are 2 additional ones if anyone else is interested in them. All right, so now our stamp is good and clean. Alrighty, so, oh my goodness. Oh no, I thought I skipped ahead. So now we've got 21 inches that we are going to tie in a bow. And I see here that they stamped a little bit on the background. So it's really hard to see, especially probably for you guys, but there appears to be some stamping on the back that they forgot to tell us to do. So if you're interested, grab your Pacific Point base and your stippling stamp, and then you can add a little stippling in the water. So it's kind of off here, and then I might put some down here as well, and maybe one more over here. Okay. We'll see if it was worth it in the end. But in the drawing, they have one stamp here. I went a little overboard and added some extra. Okay, so that does it. I'm going to move our stamps and our stamp pad out of the way. Bear with me while I do that. All right, so now we need 21 inches of ribbon. Ooh, and our measuring stick only goes up to 18. All right, so here's the ribbon that we need for that. And then what we're gonna do is wrap it around the base. Okay. Now we're gonna tie a bow off to the left. Now, I'm gonna go rogue here a little bit. Chris uses bow makers, and they make bow making quite a bit easier. So I'm going to go that route. Sorry if that is not kosher. And what I'm going to do is, what about the clouds? Yeah, it doesn't look like, so the clouds are dry embossed. It is very, very, you'll see them a little better on this side. Very, very, very hard for me to show that off to you. And they don't show very much on here. But that is from the dry embossing that those show up. Okay, so I'm going to put some tear and tape. And I'm going to do my ribbon my way. So I'm going to put a strip along here. And then I'm going to complete our tear and tape ribbon sandwich by cutting a piece off and leaving the waxy back on it. And then I'm going to bring in my bow maker friend and make the bow independent of that. It just is easier than trying to do both things at the same time, especially someone like me who has really long fingernails. That just is difficult. So there's my beautiful bow. I'm going to trim the tails off, and then I'm going to use a glue dot to stick it down. So I'm going to put a glue dot just in the center here, and then I'm going to stick it right where I want, which I'm going to hold off doing until the next step, because I see here we've got a little birdie friend that we're going to be adding, and I don't want to get that in the way. So next we've got our message in a bottle that is going to be layered on the card without any dimension. So I'm going to use my liquid glue, or you could use your your glue dots if you would like. Next we have our sentiment, which is adhered using 3 dimensionals. Gonna line them up along the bottom. Excuse me, along the back. 1, 2, 3. All right, then we are going to put this down approximately here. All right, then we've got our seagulls. So our big seagull, you'll see how they are instructing us to adhere it. Dimensional on the top, and then liquid glue or glue dots on the bottom. And that is because we're putting it on the banner, but it's not going, the whole thing's not going on the banner. So we want to make sure that he stays and that his head doesn't sag. So if we didn't put the dimensional, there'd be nothing holding his head up. Now we're going to cover, oh, you guys, I missed a step. Ha ha ha. Okay, so I wanted to cover the end of the banner. See here, I'm changing my mind a little bit. I was trying to cover that corner, but he was kind of hanging off and I just didn't love everything about that, so I moved him in a little bit. And I think what I'm going to do is take my glue scissor and snip that. Truly not a big deal, but I don't know, I don't like that hanging out there. Okay, so what I forgot to do, guys, is put it on the card. So let's grab our Bermuda Bay base and let's burnish it. And then let's, oh, this one's on dimensionals as well. So many dimensionals tonight. So we've got our card. Hi, Ethel. Thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful Thursday night. We are just finishing the 3rd card from the Paper Pumpkin kit, and then we are going to dive into our alternative. So make sure your card is opening the proper way. Always an important step. And then we need to figure out where we're putting this bow, because it was supposed to go here-ish, but if I would have put it there, then my bird wouldn't have gone where it belonged. So I don't know if we should put it kind of like there-ish. I don't love it. But we'll leave it there. It's where she wants to be. Then we need to take our other 2 seagulls and put some dimensionals. This time I think I will listen to their advice about the half, because I don't think I can fit a whole one on these. Where are my glue scissors? Okay, so cut that in half. You did just hear me reference the glue scissor. When cutting anything with adhesive on it, it is a strong recommendation to have a scissor that is specifically set aside for that, so you're not getting adhesive or anything on your scissor that you normally would use to cut paper or ribbon. It will just make your job quite a bit harder when you go back to those other surfaces. All right, so then we're gonna put down our open wing bird, and then our sideways bird, and that is our card. So we've made it to the end. Let me clean up my space and show off the 3 cards we made, so you can tell me what your favorite is. Wow, I've got a big mess. Oh, there's a lot of dies. Okay, so first we started with the Bermuda Bay. Then we did the Fresh Freesia, and we ended with the Pacific Point. So, which one do we like the most? My strong preference. No embellishments. I agree. So when I was unpacking, I was like, we don't have embellishments. I truly think that's a missed opportunity. I don't know if it was a budget thing or a what thing, but I wish there was embellishments in here. So we are getting, so far we've got 1 vote each on our favorite. Ooh. These two each are pulling ahead. I'm trying to be as least. So, we have gotten no votes for the first one, and actually, I think that might be my favorite. It's somewhere between these two. I'm not a fan of the ship one. It's not bad. It's just not something I would lend to. So that's just my ditty on it. Anyone else casting their votes? Definitely could use embellishments. I agree. I think we would want to put some embellishments on if I was sending these cards out. The opal rounds would be so pretty. Mom likes the ship in the bottle colors. I do kind of like how the Pacific Point and Bermuda Bay, to me it's an unlikely color scheme, but it goes together really well. My favorite is this. I really like how we did the Bermuda Bay with the basic gray. Very pretty. So the ship in the bottle, I think, has taken the lead. So very cool. All right, let's do an alternative. We can do it, right? So as promised, we're gonna do something with Halloween here. Oh my goodness. We'll see. All right, so I'm going to put these off to the side for inspiration, even though I'm not really going to be using much from it. And what I am going to be using is, I forgot a piece, this Fresh Freesia card base and this bottle. So that's what we are using. And then I'm going to bring in some supplies from the new mini catalog. And this is where I'm going to lose it a little bit. We'll see. I'm going to bring in the... So, granted, this is not the exact correct purple, but I really like these purple and black glimmer washi tape, so we might use that. I'm going to use some combination of these for the focal images. I don't know what color stamp I'm going to use yet. And then this, I think this is like tea time or something like that. I thought I saw some purple, or I should say Fresh Freesia in here, and that's the color I'm looking for. Oh, I hope I have another option than that, because, oh, I like this one. That is likely the, oh, I like this one. So one of those two are going to be used for sure. Okay. And then this black and white designs paper, I think also holds a lot of potential. This pack of paper does not have many options for me though. I can see Chris has used it quite a bit, which is great. Put those supplies to use. Ooh, okay, somewhere between these two, if I need it, is what I'm going to use. Okay, so there's our inspiration. Okay, let's get that out of the way. All right, now, I need to do some die cutting because I want to put, okay, I'm not going to lie. The inspiration for this card is coming from, let's see here. Oopsies. Okay, it's time to take another drink. Is coming from Tanya Bird. And what she did that I loved was put googly eyes to make it look like there were googly eyes in this bottle. And I loved that. But I don't know if Chris has googly eyes or where I would find them. So keep that in mind as an idea for your own alternative. Don't mind me. Had to run and grab a couple supplies. So we're gonna use fresh freesia and a sponge dauber. We also need some okay, so I need a black ink pad and I cannot find the Memento pad. Oh, there's one. Okay. Whew. All right. So I am going to go ahead and I got nothing in mind here, guys. So we are in this together. If you have any ideas as we're going through this on how you think this card should be guided, please shout them out because I have no vision about where this is going. Okay, so I'm going to take some fresh freesia and I'm going to sponge daub to make this bottle look as though it has a purpley tint to it. And then because I don't have googly eyes, and I loved that idea so much, but that's okay. This is all about casing. I'm gonna put bats in the bottle and probably that spider friend. So there's a bats stamp in Scary Cute that I will for sure use. And then I'll probably die cut some bats as well. This is from the Scary Silhouette dies. So I think that's what I'm gonna be using. So instead of a bottle full of eyeballs, I'm going to do a bottle full of bats. I don't know how dark I want this, so I always try to remind myself to start light because you can always layer more color on. You can't take color off, but I always seem to end up with a heavy hand anyways, even though I tell myself that. Okay, black embellishments and painted white dot for eyes. That's a good idea. Or pearls with a black dot for the pupil. I could do something like that. So, funny thing, I'm not a Halloween girl. I love October. My birthday's in October and our anniversary's in October. But, I don't know, the spooky, scary stuff doesn't do it for me. But I love this idea of utilizing the elements for something completely out of the box. Because, like I said, maybe nautical's not your thing. And you're just looking for something to do with this kit that maybe isn't really tripping your trigger. That happens to me all the time. Like I get a paper pumpkin kit and, you know, it's nice. I like it, but it's not really something I would have purchased if I didn't get it in paper pumpkin. So then you got to get creative with your alternatives and see what you come up with. Okay, so I'm probably going to die cut all of these little bats on one run. Okay, would it be like totally creepy and weird to put a cat in the bottom of the jar? I'm not. Oh. How about a haunted house? Oh, I like that. I'm gonna try that. Let's do that. Okay, so I'm gonna get some black scrap and we're gonna run all of these dies through. This is when our filming station gets way too small. All right, let's find some black. And make some bats. So bats are perfect for these super tiny little scraps that you never know what to do with. Okay. Now I need my sandwich. Okay, so let's see if we can fit our haunted house on this scrap. And then we're gonna line bats all along this. It's like an intricate little dance, especially on these magnetic plates. Now, don't get me wrong, I love magnetic plates, but if you're fighting the polarity, sometimes it gets really difficult because they jump around a little bit. Okay, well, it looks like I just need one of these strips, and I just need them not to move. Got a little jolt there. Oh my goodness, put my muscles on. Okay, let's see. That worked well. Let's get these out of here. Hello, Elaine. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, so grab your take your pick tool. Get this guy off of there. And all of these little bats. We'll see if we have enough. I don't know where that one flew off to. They're so cute. Okay, then I just use my take your pick tool to release the elements that are still stuck on the cutting plate. And then, very important step is to make sure that you put your supplies away, because these little dies and little stamps have a way of walking off on you, and then you get sad and you can never find them again. Okay, so let's put, who knows, I might need them out again, but for the time being, we're gonna put them away. So glad that they give you so many of these dies so that you don't need to run your embossing machine a million times just to get a million bats. Oh, that was nice. 5 bats in 1 cut. Oh, I should do a moon too. We'll see. I can always throw that on in the end. Okay, now let's get out our bat stamp. Okay. And I think we're just gonna stamp it all full of bats. Where's my... Okay. Okay. All right. That just about does it on that. Then I'm probably going to, where's my stamp cleaner? You guys should see all around me. It is an absolute disaster. Can't find anything. Okay, so now I want to put some of these guys, and I think I want them dimensionalized, which is not going to be easy, but we'll see here. Now, my dimensionals, oh, I packed them away. All right, what are we thinking about the spooky scariness? Are we liking it? Is it headed down the right path? We'll see. Okay, so now I'm going to take my glue scissor and cut apart a couple of these dimensionals because I'm gonna need tiny dimensionals for these bats. Turning out cute. Well, let's hope so. We're trying something different. This, oh, black dimensionals for the bats. Great idea. I don't know where Chris has black dimensionals. So everyone out in the audience, if you consider doing something like this, black dimensionals are where it's at. Hildenell, that is the best idea I've heard yet. Okay, so we're gonna take our scissors and we're gonna cut off the cork, and the bats are gonna be flying out of it. Hildenell, you are genius. I love it. Okay. Now, I need to figure out what else we're doing. Where did my card base go? Okay. So I'm thinking that it's going to be a vertical card and that the bats are going to go that way. Oh, I like the idea of this. Maybe this goes in the background. I like that idea too. Okay. I need to figure out what mat we're using. I kind of like this one. I think these are a little aggressive. Okay. All right, I'm going to try something. We will see what we get. So I'm going to make a black mat at 8.5 by 11 is 5.5. So I'm gonna cut it at, I don't know yet. I'm doing difficult math right here. Let's see if I did it right and then I'll tell you. Okay, so I made it a thin mat, and then I'm gonna make this the traditional mat, which is gonna be 4 by 5.25, which means that is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. So we're getting just a little pop of that black coming through. Like I said, this one is from the Tea Time DSP or something of that sort. Okay, so we're gonna get a really little tinge of black coming through there. Then I think what I'm going to do, not positive yet, what I think I'm gonna do is have the bottle coming off here and the bats flying out. And then I think I'm gonna have this at the bottom, and I might put the trick-or-treaters there. And then I might have a moon up in the sky. We'll see. I think the next thing I'm gonna do is glue the mats together because I don't think that's gonna change. I mean, no guarantee, but we'll see. I'm glad that you're getting into this card. So like I said, I'm not really into the Halloween scene. I am much more into the autumn fall vibes, like the pumpkins, the very regal color tones, and stuff like that. So this is very out of my comfort zone. Like, not at all something I would normally consider. But when I saw, and now I can't even remember her name, whomever I said before that did a Halloween card out of this as an alternative, I loved her idea of using the googly eyes. So if that resonates with anyone, definitely consider doing that. But it really inspired me to think outside the box, which is what I try to do with my alternatives, and make something not quite my speed. Okay, so let's consider the bottle going there. Let's consider the haunted house going there. I think I want a strip of black on the bottom to ground the haunted house on. And I think I might, not certain yet, have the little trick-or-treater guys stamped down here. Now, this would be a reason why not to have glued it down, because if I ruin it, that's not going to be good. And then we'll put the bats. Very little reception there. Chris, do you mind reminding us where you are tuning in from? I don't remember where you headed off to. Okay, so now something that's standing out to me, now that I have so much fresh freesia, which I do really like, I'm going to sponge the edges of this with black to help it stand out a little more. So let's do that. And see if that helps. Just giving it a little definition. Black, obviously, is a strong color, so you don't need much of it. Yeah, that's a really good point. The trick-or-treaters may be a bit big compared to the size of the house. You're right. I might cast that off to Creative Liberty because I'm thinking we need something down there. Anyone got any other ideas? A sentiment. We need a sentiment. Let's see what we got here. Trick or treat, you're so sweet. I kind of like that. All right, so let's see here. Or maybe I do the trick-or-treaters and no house, but I really like the house. You know, I might just chalk it up to Creative Liberty. Not ideal. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Ooh, I should stamp some stars in the sky. So there's stars in this Bewitching set. So I might stamp some stars in, like, stamped off in gray. I don't know. That might make it look a little busy, but we're really trying to just do something different here. So let's, and where did my cork go? I can't lose that. So let's put that in there so I don't lose track of that. And I'm going to just start stamping. I'm going to put stamped off stars in the sky, and then I'm going to put a moon. Where is my, I'm losing track of everything here. So I'm going to move everything off right now and just stamp on here. My bottle was going to go somewhere here-ish. So I'm going to lightly add some stars all over the top. Really not very dark because I do still want to make sure the bats are the focal up there. When I do things like this, as you see, I'm fumbling around with, I try to continuously turn my stamp so that the stars are rotated or in a different order. It's not always successful, but then I'm just going to very lightly. So I'm going to stamp at 3rd strength to begin with and then just continue to carry it down so that the stars leave a texture in the background, but they're really nondescript. You can't even tell that they're stars anymore. So that's the stamping I'm going to do on that. I'm going to... So I think my... Okay, you guys, I think I'm just going to do it. I don't know if I'm going to regret this or not. You can learn from my mistakes. If you don't like it, please use... use the kit's little stamp. That's a great idea. Where did I put that? Okay, so in the kit, you have... Oh my god, there's stars in the kit. Could have used those stars. Now, granted, these very much look like they are starfish, but this stamp... Ooh, Okay, I just had a little crazy idea. We're all about crazy ideas with this card, right? I have no clue if this is going to work, so bear with me. Let's get this stamp off of here. Let's put it back where it belongs. And then I'm going to... Chris, I'm sorry if this doesn't work. I really hope we can make something happen here. Okay, I'm going to put my stippling star on a block. Then on a different block, I'm going to put some Stella. And then I'm going to try to Stella. Oh my goodness, this Stella does not exist anymore. She's dried up. Uh-oh. Where's an extra Stella? All right, but now I'm invested in the idea, so I've got to find a Stella. There's got to be another one in this hive somewhere. Okay. All right, I'll be right back. Grabbing a brand new Stella. If you've never gotten a brand new Stella, let me show you something. You gotta take the cover off, then you gotta screw her apart and take this black ring off. That is garbage. Okay? Thanks, Cindy. I'm trying to make something really, really crazy over here. Okay, and then the first time you use a Stella, you really gotta pump her because she needs to get that down there. So, I don't know. I really don't know what I'm doing, so I don't know how much of this I need. But I'm hopeful that I'm going to be stamping. Oh, now I just had a better idea. So Stella, you can flick like this. But now I'm curious whether my original idea would have worked or not. And that is stamping with Stella. So let's see. Put some Stella on the block. I'm just getting Stella on the stamp itself. Oh, it's working! It's gonna be really hard to show this off, but over there you can see a cluster of stippling of Stella. By no means is it perfect, but it's kind of a different idea. All right, I think I've aggressively filled in the background with stars and Stella and stippling and all the good things in the world. Okay, So now we need to prioritize the bats. So I think I am going to, I can't get it out of my head. I'm going to put these little trick-or-treaters down there. I hope you don't hate it. I hope I don't hate it. I don't know where I put my black strip. Do we have another skinny black strip? I'm sure we do. Need to stamp with Stella. So now here's my suggestion with stamping with Stella. I don't think you'd be able to tell the definition of what the stamp actually is. So like here you can tell that it's a group of stippling, but some of the dots got larger because the alcohol that's holding the shininess together kind of like spread out. So I do think stamping with Stella is absolutely possible, and we just kind of tested that. But I would advise, if you do that, to not feel as though your impression is going to be very clear and succinct. Okay, and what I'm doing here, this might not be necessary, I don't know. I'm layering the layers back up so that I have an even surface for stamping on. Okay. And then I could tell that based on the size of this stamp and the layout that I have in mind, that about half of my ghost friend is going to have to be hanging off the side. And I'm going to have them about a half an inch up from the bottom, because I'm going to have them look like they're walking on this little strip down here. Haha, I put them way too far down. Whoopsies. So I'm going to cut my strip down. All right, so what do we have here? I should have measured. Whoa, I've got dominoes falling down here. That is 3/8 of an inch strip. This is going to be quite a pain to trim. Ooh, I don't think this is going to be possible. Woo! Let's try it. I just don't want to cut off their little leggies. Okay. That'll do her. Yes, Mary, that is the goal here. We're going to make it look like they are flying out of the bottle. So we will see. Let's see what we come up with. Oh, I like that idea. Washi tape. Ooh, I'm going to try it. I kind of forgot it was sitting there. Oh, I love it. Okay, so I'm going to trim this off. I also love how it's balancing the glitter with the top. Okay, so I'm gonna need, I'm thinking this is like a 1/4 inch thickness, so I'm gonna need like a 1 1/2. Because again, I don't wanna cut their little leggies off. They're too cute. This glitter washi tape is so pretty. Holy man. I'm loving it. Okay, so let's trim this off. Sorry if you can see my hair. Okay, and then I'm going to smidgen it down just a hair. Oh, that's adorable. I love it so, so much. I have another idea. Okay. So, next I'm going to put the bottle on. I'm absolutely going to dimensionalize that. Where did those go? Oh, this is so cool. Oh my God, I'm overdoing it with the dimensionals. Holy man. I'm kind of like caught up in my La La Land moment of how much Like I have 3 ideas bouncing through my head right now. Okay. And then here's another little silly thing. I'm gonna put just a hair of washi tape on the side here because I don't like this tiny, you can't even see it from there. That's how tiny it is. A tiny little poke of purple out the bottom. Just gonna cover that up. Okay, then where's my little witch house? You guys are probably like screaming at the phone like, stop! Just find your supplies and stop looking for things. Okay, so here is a thought. I'm gonna trim down like 2 of the fence posts because I'm trying to squeeze a lot of things in a little space here. Okay, so now I'm gonna put my, oh shoot. Yep, that's right. Going to put my house here. And in line with Deb's suggestion about the washi tape, I think I'm gonna put that on the bottom here as well. This might be not necessary, we'll see. So it looks like it's grounded? I don't know, maybe. Oh my God, it's adorable. I really love it. Okay, but we're not done. Now, I think I'm going to put, do I make it look like the cap is falling off? I don't think so. I think that's too much. I think I'm gonna put a couple bats in the sky. Then, oh, these are gonna be tiny. Okay, so I already cut some little strips. I think I need to cut some tiny strips. Where'd that bat go? Oh, right here. Okay, so I was hopeful that I wasn't gonna need to die cut anymore, but changed my mind. Oh, and I gotta get flying. No pun intended. Gotta go get my kiddos. And we're almost done. This alternative has taken a little bit. Usually, I have more of an idea in my head, so it comes together better. This has been very on the spot. Now, I cannot remember who made the suggestion, but you absolutely, thank you. I was just thinking the same thing, Cindy. I'm gluing the little ones. There is no way. There's no way these dimensionals are gonna work out. So, glue the little ones. And dimensionalize the big ones. Hi, Andrea. Thanks for tuning in. My boss and I were talking before this, kind of debriefing from our dinosaur event. And I invited her to join me in this crazy card making thing. So she just tuned in. Okay, so I'm gonna bring this guy back in. And I'm gonna cut out a couple more bats on a strip of black that I'm going to cover with washi tape so that I get sparkly bats. So run your washi tape over the length of your strip. And then, oopsies, don't do that. Okay, then put your bats on top of it. If I were here we go. I was like, where would I have gone? Now, I don't know if I should break the color scheme and put a moon on here. I think I'm gonna cut a moon out just in case I want it, but when I put it down, it might look like absolutely not right. And a moon, thanks, Mom. See, I think so. Okay. All right, let's see about some of these little guys. I'm thinking crushed curry for the moon. So let's get a scrap of crushed curry and see what we think about the moon. Okay, crushed curry. Go figure, there's not a ton of, this is the only crushed curry scrap. Ooh, purple sparkle moon. I'm gonna try that too. Great idea. So let's see if we've got a Highland Heather scrap. Now, we already discussed that this is not Highland Heather. It is fresh freesia, but the washi tape is Highland Heather. So I don't know if it matters, but my suggestion in doing this washi tape thing is to, first of all, I'd run it through forward and backwards. Oh, plain black. That's a great idea too. Maybe a black sparkly moon. No, I think not black. I changed my mind. I think not black because there's so much black already, it would probably get lost with the bats. So there's my impression of that. But I will try a purple sparkle moon because I do like that idea too. So put these over there. Let's grab the yellow moon off. Let's quick make a purple one too, just in case we decide that's what we want to use. Although I'm already kind of liking this. Yeah, I think I like it just the way it is. All right, let's get these bats off. Let's make a purple sparkle moon just in case. Which purple is here? Here's this. Oh, this is so pretty. Okay, here we go with our purple moon. Okay, so get that out of here. Uh-oh, that's gonna be difficult to get out. Scooch that out of the way. Grab your take your pick tool. If you didn't know this, our dies have this little spot where you can use your take your pick tool to pop it out, because sometimes they get stuck in there. Okay, back to the goodies. Okay, so I have 2 bats glued on. I'm gonna put one more tiny bat that is not sparkly because I do like working in odd quantities. So I'm gonna throw down our 3rd non-sparkly bat, and then I think I'm just gonna like go crazy on the sparkle bats because look at how stinking cute they are. Look at that. So cool. Okay, let's grab our tiny dimensionals that we cut up that right now are more likely to stick to my thumb than my bat. And we're just gonna fill the sky with sparkle bats. I need to find my sparkle bats. Okay, so I feel like I need one more big one. Although, love the sparkly bats, they're so cute. Okay, I'm thinking of putting them there. So now we need more dimensionals. Uh-oh. They're so tiny, they stick together. You guys, I have never felt so confident in a paper pumpkin alternative that I've been so not prepared for. This is awesome. I'm feeling really good about this. Okay, now I'm missing a tiny dimensional. Is it stuck to the scissor? No, I don't know where it is. Okay. Fun card. I am hopeful that the second time I make this card, it goes a lot faster, because I think the fact that I don't have the stuff that I need around me, and kind of going through the process of not knowing exactly what I'm shooting to do is lengthening the process. So I do think if you were to create one of these cards through this inspiration, that hopefully it wouldn't take you an hour to do. All right, now, you know, I'm thinking things like, hey, this card doesn't have a sentiment. Does it matter? Anyone got any thoughts and feelings about that? Now I could stamp "Trick or Treat, You're So Sweet" right here, like on the card. Explore my spooky side. It's funny, my husband really likes like spooky Halloween. Like I said, I'm more into the fall goodness. Okay, so yellow moon, sparkle moon, no moon, or does the moon go down here? That's too low, I think. Boo! There is a boo! Put one on the inside. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Okay. Oh, maybe the moon goes there. Maybe I shouldn't have put this one there and put the moon there. Oh, you guys, I need help with the moon. Okay, any thoughts? There? Yellow? Is yellow wrong? Do we do purple? Okay, I'm going to stamp the sentiment on the inside while you guys consider that. Trick or treat, you're so sweet. Moon is too small, okay. That's a valid suggestion. No on the curry, no moon. Okay, I'm getting support for the no moon. Moon higher in the right corner. Okay, so let's stamp the sentiment on the inside. And then I think I'm going to go along with the boo. And I think what I'm going to do is stamp it a couple of times in a couple different strengths. I don't know. Why not? Okay. Oh my goodness, I am getting ink all over my fingers. All right, I just saw Deb's suggestion on putting a bow or like ribbon on the neck of the bottle, and I really like that. So I think what I'm gonna do, I had a scrap of this ribbon twine stuff somewhere. I don't know where I put that. Oh, right there. Okay, I'm gonna put a bow. And I'm going to, let's see here. So many thoughts. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my black blend, and I'm going to color my twine black. Ooh, purple washi tape, then the twine. Great idea. Let's try that. Going to try to get my nippers in there and trim that down. I do that because I like the, don't like the torn look of it. Okay, so now I think that's too big. I don't know if a baby bow is gonna be too tiny. We're about to find out. I'm gonna do a double bow, I think. Let's see here. Every time I use this, it's like, I never know if I'm doing it right. Okay. All right, so we've got a double baby bow. And then I'm gonna put that black baby bow on top of the washi tape. Okay, so let's bring that up. And let's grab a glue dot. I'll put that at the base of the bottle, and I'm going to try to open up the double loops here and then trim off the tails. Okay. While I'm down here, I'm going to put a little black on the bottom here because it looked it looked a little weird to me. So I darkened up the bottom there. Again, I don't know if that was right. Who knows? Like the purple washi tape and bow. I do too. That is cute. Okay, now the moon. Let me go back to the moon. Where did my purple moon go? Oh, I almost lost a die. That would be bad. Well, you know what? I was going to put the purple moon on, but now I can't even find it. All right, 1, 2, I think I only have one more. Man, I liked the purple moon up there. Where did that little sucker go? Right here, right here, right here. Okay, so I am going to try to put some black definition around the moon. We got a lot going on here, ladies. So let's try this. Whoa. Okay. Well, that helped a little bit. And I'm going to put a dimensional behind it. And at that, it's going to be a half dimensional. Ooh, this is how I lose them. It's a little crazy here. So I'm not gonna lie, I really like the yellow moon, but I think having it up in this corner gets it too far away from everything, that having just that yellow, like odd color that's nowhere else makes it a little weird. So I'm gonna put a little more glue on this bat that I put down, took up, and now I'm putting right back down where it was. And I truly wish I had one more glitter bat, but for the sake of time, I'm going to put the non-glitter bat here because I have it. And that might be my finished card. I'm not quite sure. Anyone have any thoughts? So here's a close-up of it. I can't get it in the frame. Oh my God, Cindy, that is the best idea I've heard. Actually, I've heard a lot of really great ideas. I think what I would do if I redid this is put the yellow moon up here and then put yellow behind this layer in the windows. That would be so stinking cute. I love it. All right. Anyone else have any thoughts or feelings or suggestions about this card before we call it a quits? I love it. I'm so happy with it. I'm so happy with my spooky Halloween card. So, I'm going to clean up a little bit and show that off, and then I'm going to bring in the other cards that we made tonight that feel like it was like 4 hours ago because this card took forever. It was so cool. Thank you. I can't remember who, but thank you to whomever complimented watching my creative process in play. That was pretty cool. You guys make me so happy. I love, love, love crafting along with you guys. So much inspiration. Half of this card wouldn't have looked the way it did if it wasn't for you guys cheering me on and giving me thoughts and ideas. So thank you. I love it. Oh, my boss says when it comes to stamping, I am her boss. That is so funny. I love doing this kind of stuff, and it is so fun to get my creative juices flowing. So, what do we think of all the cards we made tonight? What is your favorite? Bonus points if you think it's the Halloween card. It is my favorite, even though I'm not a spooky Halloween gal. Time to get the kids. Yep, I'm gonna pack up and head over there, but I will say we need to do a giveaway. So let's bring up the random number generator, and let's see here. We've got 1 through 20. Anyone else interested in a kit before we pick the winner? Card by committee. Oh, I love that. Card by committee. That is so cool. So we have 20 participants that crafted along with us tonight, and our winner is number 14. So Jolene Schrei, you are our lucky winner for Paper Pumpkin Live tonight. I lost the comments, so sorry. Let's see if I can find them up here. So Jolene, I will let Chris know that you are tonight's winner, and she will get a prize together for you. And Millie, I will make sure that we get a Paper Pumpkin kit headed your way. So I am so happy that you joined me tonight for Paper Pumpkin Live. It was a challenge. I started with a very loose idea of what this alternative card was going to come up with. I basically had Fresh Freesia, Halloween, and a bottle of bats in mind, and this is what we came up with, and I am so happy with it. It turned out great. Thank you guys so much for all of your support and suggestions in creating that card. It turned out so great. I can't wait for Chris to see it. She probably is not watching because of the reception issues that she was having. So I hope you guys had a wonderful Technique Thursday. Check out that video if you missed it. It posted about half an hour before the live, so I don't think it's got seen by many people yet, but it's a really cool, fun fold that you definitely want to check out. So I hope you had a wonderful Technique Thursday and a great Paper Pumpkin Live, and I don't know when Chris is coming back. I don't even remember where she went, but you'll see her probably Monday is when she's live next, I think. So I hope you guys all have a wonderful night, and catch you soon.